Ladies and gents, welcome to Conversations. I am your host, Ryan.
And I'm Ben.
And today, we actually have a pretty cool guest in the studio today. You're actually pretty interesting dude to me. He's a white dude, a white guy that's a rapper. He raps in English and Korean. Lived in Korea for the past 10 years. Currently is living in Japan right now. And then, sorry.
That's okay.
Wait.
I'm not living in Japan. I just got back from doing some shows in Japan.
Oh, I thought you were in Japan. Sorry.
No.
I should have ran that.
That's okay. I mean, this makes the intro more natural.
Right.
Just read it, dude.
He was
Read
a
what you got.
contestant on a Korean rap competition show called Sign Here. One half of the rap duo Part-Time Cooks. You can find his music on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple, and YouTube. He has a new collab album dropping in 2 days with ROMderful.
Yeah.
ROMderful. Visiting us straight from somewhere.
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth.
Planet
Everyone,
Earth.
Saul Goode.
What's up, y'all?
Saul Goode.
Saul Goode.
Saul Goode.
That's
In
that's
the
it.
pod.
Saul Goode, even
That's
though
it.
I
So how
messed
much
up
of
the
that
intro.
was like accurate?
Everything was perfect except for
Okay.
the lived in.
You don't live in
Tokyo
Japan.
thing. No, I was.
I thought you were in. Okay, so I got false information, man. From
Yeah.
Would you
from the
Wikipedia
draft
that?
site. No, this guy got the brother-in-law pedia.
Oh, so your brother-in-law gave him a false
Something.
false
I
information.
just did a little tour in Japan.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood this.
Well, okay, I have a question because I asked you like where do you stay, and you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I thought you meant like in LA.
Whenever I ask that question, I think the common assumption is, oh, this is where I live. But you were like, I lived in Korea for a bit, and right now you're here in LA, but you float around.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, bro? What kind of lifestyle is that?
I stayed in Korea for so long that now that I'm back here, I'm just kind of making up for lost time. Like I spend time with my family here in LA. I spend a lot of time with my family in North Carolina. I just
Where
got
did you
back
grow
from like
up?
Maine,
Yeah.
Where were
North
you born?
Carolina.
You're born
I was born in San Jose,
Born in San
Okay.
Jose, so
Yeah.
Bay Area.
and then when I was 4, moved to Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Got
North
it.
Carolina.
Yeah.
That was interesting. That must have been You're Italian?
Yeah, my dad is Italian. My mom's like American Indian a little bit.
Indian?
Just kind of a whole bunch of stuff, but
Okay.
mostly Italian.
So
and-
you blended in pretty
Yeah.
easily over
Yeah.
there. That's dope.
yeah, for sure.
How did you get into the Korean hip hop scene? Like,
So I've rapped since I was 14
okay.
because my dad's a jazz musician, my brother's a jazz musician, like all the guys in my family do music, and I didn't play anything because I just didn't really enjoy taking piano lessons from my dad and stuff, but I started freestyling at parties when I was 14 and came home and I told my dad, hey, I know I don't play any instruments, but every time I rap at parties, people go fucking crazy. And he set me up, like surprised me and set up a studio in my room. So my house was like the first house where everybody came over and rapped and recorded. And I was the first kid like selling CDs at school for $5. And so I've been doing music since I was a kid. But my group, it was called Endless Mike, that I toured with up until like I finished college. Kind of disbanded, and I kind of gave up on music for a while, but I was still recording by myself. But my producer from that group, his name was Deez. That's not a ploy to get you guys to say Deez now.
I was about to, but I was holding back.
Deez, the homie
Well,
Deez.
Dez, but
Goes
yeah.
by David now, but he asked if I wanted to go teach English in South Korea, and I thought it sounded really dope. I was actually dating a half Korean woman at the time, and she really wanted to go back and get in touch with her family there. And last minute, she was like, hey, I need to be here with my family. I can't go, but I think you should go because you're so excited about it. And honestly, we were like engaged. We lived together. I have furniture there. My car was there. And I've like never seen her since. I loved Korea so much I never returned back to America. So like I went there, taught English, released a mixtape from like the kindergarten that I was working at from the desk one day. It was like a 33-track mixtape of all the songs that I had made right before I moved to Korea, thinking I was kind of done with music. And some rappers there heard it and invited me to come perform. And like 2 months later, I was performing in front of like thousands of people.
Bro,
on the
that's
weekend.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, in terms of you pursuing the music route, what were you doing before that? Did you have kind of a path that you thought you were going to be on in terms of your career, and then you kind of derailed it with music? What was before music?
Before music?
Yeah. Basketball.
Yeah. I mean, never really thought basketball was going to go anywhere.
We all did.
I'm too damn short.
But basketball at some point.
Everybody who likes rap music thinks they're going to play basketball, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I played basketball, and then I just really liked street ball, and I was just always doing like the fancy Jason Williams elbow pass kind of stuff. And I wasn't having fun playing organized ball at school. And I really fell in love with the music thing, especially when like my group like sold out this like legendary little venue in the hometown. I think we were one of the first like local rap groups to ever do it. And yeah, I just like really loved it. I really loved performing, and I just kind of knew that I was going to do that forever. And my homie Martin and Will, they had like an indie rock label in my hometown, which is now just like taken off. They manage a bunch of really incredible bands. He's like the Michael Jordan of indie rock management. But he was like 14 and I was 16, and he signed 17, and he signed us to his indie rock label, and he sent me on tour while he was in high school.
What the?
And it was just like a 13 state tour and stuff. And so I just was really heavy into the music until that group broke up. And yeah, I was thinking about getting married, so I was going to try to kind of give up on music. But that's kind of like the theme of all of my music is I get kind of discouraged, and then I'm like, I want to quit, but I can't quit. This is my favorite thing in the world. So then that's kind of what all my newest music is about as well, because it was kind of disappointing having to leave Korea. We were just really starting to take off after that TV show, just getting a lot of gigs. Well, we were on the entertainment visas, which are really hard to get. I don't think that anyone has ever gotten them for being rappers before. I think my partner, Black Moss, and I were the first foreigners who just like a record label signed us and got us entertainment visas as rappers. So
wow.
That was pretty dope.
Is there something that happened though? Like why you're not in Korea now, or?
Well, like the TV show that we were on with AOMG called Sign Here ended in November of 2019. That was when the like final episode aired, and the biggest song that we were on was produced by Gray called Do That Thing. That was like the last episode that we were on, and that aired in like November of 2019 when Nader, my brother-in-law, and my sister came to visit. We were watching it at my friend's bar, just going like, oh my God, my life's about to change so much. Like, we were on TV every week. It was really dope. People were starting to recognize me more for my music, even more than they had before. And yeah, I mean, my life was kind of changing. And then COVID happened, and like a month after that, and all of the festivals got canceled, and all of our shows got canceled. And I did like a couple like Subway commercials and Outback Steakhouse commercials and stuff, for, like off of the show. Yeah.
I didn't know they had Outback in Korea.
It kind of kept me afloat for a while, financially. Even though all of my income I was only allowed to do work in Korea as a musician.
I see.
I was allowed to, in my contract with like immigration or whatever, it was like I was allowed to songwrite, I was allowed to be on TV, and I was allowed to sell music in Korea, but that was it.
No acting, no.
No, I was allowed to act. Anything entertainment wise was cool. But so like when all the shows got canceled, like I had to find alternate sources of income outside of music. So yeah, I did some Subway commercials and Bacchus commercials.
We'll try to find those.
Yeah, you can find them. You can find them. I'll maybe if you guys have the YouTube on.
So how did you find that niche of like not just music, but you wanted to specifically do it in Korea, and like discovering that, I mean, again, there's not a lot of, as far as I know, a lot of people who aren't Korean who rap in Korean, but also like something about Korean culture that draws you to, like, what was that first thing for you that was intriguing to you?
Well, for me, it's just like the music comes with me everywhere I go, which like I've now that I'm a little bit older, I realize I need to stop trying to run away from it. I just can't. It's like, it's just my form of therapy, especially the older I get, the more introspective my lyrics become. But I was just living in Korea and feeling, it was the first time I'd ever been to another country, and I just felt...
Really? Korea was the first time going to another country?
You
wow.
really went to
went
to a good one, though.
I mean, I literally just didn't sleep for a year when I moved there. I would like go out, I would go to the gym, I would be like taking a shower, and like Ajashi would walk up and be like, "Hey, do you want to come eat with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go," you know. And I would just go out, listen to them speaking Korean, even though I didn't know shit. Like I couldn't speak. That's like how I learned how to speak Korean, which is going out with strangers and eating with them and drinking all night. And then I was just like so intrigued by the neighborhood and just how different everything looked that I would still like wake up at 6 in the morning before going to this like bullshit hagwon job, which I also loved too, to be honest. But I would just like go running just so I could see the mountains near my house and stuff in Yongin.
Do you speak fluently?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Are you better than Ryan?
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think you are, dude.
I feel like
talking
you're
to me,
better
and he
than
was
Ryan.
like, when we first hung out, we went out to K Barbecue, and then he was like, he ordered for us, and the guy
You
was like-
ordered the food.
Yeah.
And then he started asking me like how old I was in Korean, and I was like, and then he told me his age, and I was like doing the math in my head, like.
Should we do like a Korean segment for the next like 5 minutes? Only speaking.
5 minutes is a long time, but
저 이제 한국에서 안 살아가지고 좀 연습해야 될 것 같은데 해봅시다.
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 저도
반말 아니면 존댓말.
근데 존댓말은 잘 못하는데요. 근데
나이 어떻게 되세요?
뭐라 그러지? 42?
아, 네, 형님인데요.
What? 서른 is 30. 나흔? 마흔. 마흔둘. See, look, this non-Korean teaching me how to say my age. 저는 42살이에요.
저는 41살이에요.
What did you say? Mal?
마흔.
This one said Malbon.
마흔.
제 나이는
My
비밀이에요.
throat got a little dry, so 마흔.
제 나이는 비밀이에요.
비밀? Oh, secret.
Yeah.
Oh, 비밀.
Yeah.
See, this guy's dropping like real vocabs.
호랑이띠입니다.
호랑이띠.
호랑이띠.
Oh, no.
you
80.
그렇게 얘기하시면
86년?
야, 86년생이에요.
Oh.
86년생이요.
He got caught because my brother's horangi, that's why.
아, okay.
It's either that or you're like from 1956 or
He
like
don't got with my brother, that means he's older. He's getting
12 years older. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're same as my 제 동생이랑 동갑이에요.
아, 진짜요?
예.
Your brother, my brother's still.
남동생도 로스앤젤레스에서 살아요?
네. 로스앤젤레스에서 살아요.
저도요.
라이언 씨.
왜?
반말로
오케이, 반말. 오케이.
반말 is better.
저 동생이니까
예,
물어봐야 돼요.
반말. 그러니까 라이언, 너는 몇 년? What year? 몇 년에서 태어났어?
몇 년생?
몇 년생?
파리 1982.
무슨 띠? 어떤 띠야?
어떤 띠? 저는 개띠야.
개띠?
개띠.
그건 알겠어.
No, lawyer?
What?
Lawyer? I'm lawyer.
둘이 원래 한국말로 얘기
아니야.
처음이야.
처음이에요, 진짜요?
필리핀어야, 사람이야, 필리핀어.
처음이야.
아, 영원입니다. It's an honor.
Wow. Okay. So, rap. Huh? I know.
5분이 아직 안 돼서 계속
Saul
한국말 해야 돼요?
Saul.
사오 씨.
랩 쓸 때, Saul 쓸 수 있어? 그냥 혼자 쓰는 거야? 아니면
네, 원래
다른 사람이?
일단 뭐 혼자서 쓰고 다른 한국인 친구한테 뭐 추천 물어봐야 돼요. 이거 맞아요? 아니요, 조금 이상한데.
우와.
이렇게 해야 돼요.
우와.
우탄 우리 캘리포니아 버터플라이 노래 혹시
못
들어봤어요?
들었어.
그 노래 쓰실 때는 우탄이랑 딥플로 형님이랑 QM 도와주셨어요. 가사 쓰는 게.
와, 나 어떻게 말하는지 지금 몰라. I know what he said. I know what he said, but
BMC 소속 같이.
Wow, I'm just blown away. This fool's Korean's hella good.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's hella good.
It's better than-
이제 한국에서 안
한국어는
살아서
너무
좀 힘들 것 같은데 계속 해볼게요.
와, 한국 여자랑 결혼해 되겠는데?
Yeah.
하고 싶은데요, 헤어졌어요.
하지마.
헤어졌어?
하지마.
근데 한국으로 다시 가면 아마
We might have lost all of our non-Korean audience by this time. Like these guys.
Or they all can understand because they're all basic.
Maybe
we can
everyone's
cut
Korean.
some of it.
No,
Everyone else's Korean is better than ours.
Side segment or something.
You know,
It was.
It's what happened right now, guys. For the listeners, is that This white rapper dude, he just blew our Korean
He
out
just
of the
schooled
water.
all of us.
Did I
He
really?
just
I didn't.
schooled us.
I know. Y'all were good.
Well, we don't. So that's the thing. You had more day-to-day conversations because you had to, right? Where we have to do it only like when it's forced in terms of like parents or that, and where it's very, very.
That's true.
Few words, few sentences, and we're done. Like
I only speak Korean to my mom and at restaurants when I order food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like outside of that, I don't know how to communicate.
Yeah,
Like,
but if for me,
but when I lived in, when
you
I
stayed
spent
in
some time
Korea-
in Korea, I was like, oh yeah,
you were fluent, right?
After
Like
like
a week.
about a few days, I'm like, okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
dude.
Yeah,
Me too. When I was out
straight.
there, I was like, yo, ajashi.
That's what you do out here, bro.
No, but I actually, when I was there for 11 days or 12 days the last time I was out there, I the first couple of days I had to travel on my own. I was struggling a little bit, but I got better as I went on because I realized I just got to do it. And then if they go, huh? I'll be like, oh, and then I'll just switch it to English. And
You
then
just
they
got to be
usually
confident.
understand.
You just have to have
see?
confidence.
Yeah, because I'll be like, yo, and I'll
Yeah,
just
you
like,
can't mumble, bro.
yeah, mumble.
just gotta be like,
I'm a
yo.
mumble rapper. I become a mumble rapper when I.
Yeah, we
speak
probably
Korean.
would have been better at it if we had waited until we had another shot.
Maybe you.
Yeah, I definitely get
I was
better
like
at that
listening
shit.
to you guys like, am I Korean? Like, damn.
I've asked myself that question many times
Well,
on this
apparently
podcast.
everybody outside has asked that too.
So now you're back from Korea. You're kind of figuring out like the next moves. Like, so what are there shows coming up? Is there an album out? Like, what's kind of the focus right now?
Yeah, I realized my group in Korea, we were called part-time cooks. I realized that we made so much content, and it was just right before Instagram Reels and all of that really took off in the way that it did. So I'm gonna try to spend the next couple of months reconstituting some of the stuff that we did over there as Instagram and TikTok content, because like me rapping in Korean, I have maybe 5 or 6 different videos that I could pull 10-second clips of and just be like, first time I ever tried to rap in Korean on TV, or here's the 7th rap I ever wrote about Gopchang or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just have so much stuff. So I really don't like doing social media, but I understand that it's a necessary evil. So I'm going to try to have fun with it and post some of that stuff and try to get my social media numbers up a little bit more. And then, I'm going to release this project with ROMderful first.
Okay.
He's a really sick producer. He was on an LA-based label called Soulection back
I've heard
in the
of
day.
ROMderful. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
heard of him, yeah.
Rom's
Yeah.
really
I thought he was
sick.
gonna roll with you today, but
Yeah, he's leaving tomorrow
I
too.
see,
But yeah, we
I had dinner
finished
with
a bunch
them,
of.
both of them.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. He's from the UK. I actually met him in Korea because I'm friends with his
Korean too, a
manager.
little bit. Speaks a little
Yeah.
Korean.
Everybody speaking Korean, bro.
We trying,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We're trying to be like y'all.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm gonna put out this project with him, and then I have another couple of EPs that are already done, and I've already shot music videos for, and yeah, I'm just gonna try to stay consistent with it. I realize I'm just gonna do music no matter what. All the stuff I'm recording, all my friends who I've played it for just think it's the best stuff I've ever made. So I'm just gonna stay consistent and try not to get discouraged by what happened in Korea, having to leave there, and just kind of remember that I'm blessed and grateful for that whole opportunity there. Like, my story is really interesting and fun, and the friends that I made out there are just incredible. There's a really cool community over there, especially in Itaewon. I think Itaewon is one of the most incredible neighborhoods on the planet, because everybody who goes there is not necessarily running from stuff, but they left home looking for something. And so everybody who's over there just kind of creates these really intense family-like bonds with their friends over there really quickly. As I just got back from Korea, and just cried to tears of joy just about every single day with all of these beautiful friends who I have all these beautiful memories with. I just absolutely love it there.
Did you experience culture shock being out there?
I experienced culture shock coming back here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I just feel more normal in Korea. I grew up.
More accepted. You weren't looked at as like, oh, he's the foreigner guy.
Yeah,
Like,
by the
who's
way,
this
your
guy?
part-time cooks. This guy, his other duo, was a black dude.
Yeah, he's a
right?
Zulu guy from South
So
Africa.
it's like,
Oh, wow.
How did they, with the scene, the Korean hip hop scene, like, would you guys face a little racism?
I mean, maybe on the subway a couple of times and stuff. And I'm sure, like, I don't want to speak for my black friends because I'm sure that they have a more difficult time than I do there. And I've heard from them that they do. But I would say, like, as far as the hip hop scene, like, people were very welcoming to us. I mean, you'd have to ask him personally. I don't want to, like, put words in his mouth when it comes to that. But, I mean, people just loved him. I mean, he's an incredible singer and rapper and performer. I do feel like there was maybe a little bit of a wall between like us and Korean society, just because like no matter how good my Korean got, it wasn't ever enough to be truly poetic.
Well, I feel like when you go to the distance of learning the language of the place that you're in, I think the people there will like give that respect. Like, bro, you're actually taking the time to like learn our language. So it's kind of like, let's just say if I was somebody who was like, this guy clearly doesn't look like me, but he's like really taking a liking to the culture, not to appropriate it, not to just like, you know, use it as some sort of gimmick, but like you're actually like out here doing the things.
Trying, yeah.
You know what I mean? I think there's probably like a wall that can kind of like come down a little bit because.
For sure. I mean, I didn't feel like there was much of a wall. Like,
that's dope.
And also like I want to be totally like honest. The record label that we were on is like a legendary record label, and had I not been a foreigner, I doubt that I would have been able to be on it. You know, I think that like us being foreigners was one of the reasons why, even though our lyrics weren't as good in Korean as some of these other like amazing underground Korean rappers that would have loved to be on VMC, I think we were on there because it was cool that we were trying, and they really did help us a lot. So I just adored it. To be honest, like. I probably could have capitalized more on the whole, like, hey, I'm an American guy rapping in Korean. But that wasn't really, like, what I want. For me, like, music is about just, like, honest expression. And I have a hard time with the business side of it. I think I always will. I think maybe one day that might be the thing that sets me apart and does kind of give me a big kind of break. But honestly, like, for me, I just loved Seoul. And I wanted to live there, and I didn't want to leave, and I felt proud of being a part of this community. And I didn't really care. It wasn't about me. It was just kind of like, hey, I'm a rapper, and I live here, so I want to represent this place.
Right.
It wasn't about like me trying to be like, hey, I speak Korean. Look at me. Let me get famous. It was more just like, this is the dopest place on earth. I want to live here, and I'm going to rap, so I'm going to do it.
You know what? I think that's probably what it is, though, is when people can sense that you're not trying to do this as a gimmick, right? It's easy to be like, I'm gonna like rap, you know, this thing in a language that clearly like I don't look like I speak. But I think when you are actually about the craft and you're about the culture and you're about the life, people can sense that right away. And so like I think that's where the acceptance comes from, right? Like when people are like, I think this guy's actually like legit. Not like legit and even just your skill, but legit about like, I'm about this life and I live this. Like I have a homie that lives in China, and dude is white as can be.
What's his name?
His name is Eli Sweet. Shout out Eli.
Oh, Eli.
He's also a sick freestyle rapper. He's just like, he's a philosopher. He's everything. But like this dude, you would not. This dude is white as can be, but this fool will get down on some man. Like he's been living in China for years. He has a Chinese wife. And he, like his Mandarin is crazy.
That's
like
so loud.
Every time I hang out with him and I'm out there, I always look at him like, bro, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Like, but his Mandarin is legit, and he can even like rap in Mandarin too. So, but like it's not a gimmick. He loves the culture. He lives. He's from Atlanta, and you know he's lived in China for a handful of years now. And loves the culture and loves everything about the people, and it's not this like, it's not some novelty gimmicky thing. It's a real thing. So I think when people can sense that from you, and like from your crew, like that's where the acceptance comes in, where it's like you're not trying to exploit. You're like, no, I love this. I'm about, and you know, like, and that is kind of what that's why I'm curious as to when you're saying the culture shock was more here in back in the States than versus Korea, because you know America is supposed to be that melting pot. You know, people immigrate here from all over the world to, you know, achieve whatever that American dream is or whatever that is. But like, it's unfortunate that racism is still a real thing. and it's not exclusive to it's not exclusive to America. Like racism exists all around the world.
It's just more apparent because we are this melting pot.
Right. Yeah. But like, and I also know that I'm learning too that racism is even kind of more extreme in places like Asia and different places in the world. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to have these types of conversations because like as a quote unquote foreigner that you look like you don't belong here. You clearly weren't born here. You know, is probably what people are thinking. Right. But then like you are in the culture, speaking the language, you know, you've kind of like you understand like how life is out here, but then like, you know, here you are looking not like us, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's something really interesting about that.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's like Fast and Furious 2, you know, right?
Yes.
Or like the Kung Fu Kid, you know, with Jaden. Jaden, not the Karate Kid, the Jackie Chan.
Oh, you talking about, okay.
Yeah, he went to Asia, right? So it's, of course, they have the hardest there. There's always that one, you know, opposite Korean guy that's like a rapper of the neighborhood. He's like, has his crew, and then he like picks on you, and you know, it's like, that's the kind of storyline that I feel like I would expect you to, you know, if you were like, the white guy growing up doing rap in Korea, doing freestyles and performing and going into that scene, I would assume that there would be haters, more haters, you know? But because I feel like the hip hop scene is, like you said, it's like very accepting, and they see what's through people who are fake, and like they see genuine traits from people, right? Like with how I knew you were legit is when I sent your Instagram to a friend of mine that's in the hip hop scene in Korea, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know this guy. I follow him," and I was like, "Dope. That's you know, number one." And then I had a conversation with another buddy that's in New York that has similar friends, but in a different area or a different scene or different group or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, all my friends follow this dude."
Oh, cool.
So I was like, "Sweet, like that's enough to." Well, I mean, like Nader has been talking about you since like the beginning of the.
Yo, he's like my biggest fan, man. I love him.
He loves you, dude. But also the music is dope. It's like
Thank you.
You have a cool voice. You rap when you rap in Korean, like it almost sounds like you're a Korean dude rapping in Korean. You know, it's like pretty good.
And some of my mistakes, like they sound like they're intentional. Which I like. But I'm just like I don't think it's necessarily just because I'm a foreigner that we got where we got. I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing, right? Yeah. You're just legit, period.
Yeah.
Like
and America's got like its problems, you know, but sports and rap, like we're good at that shit, you know, like. Yeah. And I think if people like that sort of translated over when I went over there, and like the audiences, like Korean crowds are so rowdy. And if I like can, if I can say that there's like one strong point I have, it's my live performance. And like if the audience is giving me energy, I will turn into a machine when I'm performing. And Korean clubs are just the most fun places in the entire world.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, it's funny. Like when there would be hip hop shows here in LA that it's predominantly Asian audience.
Yeah.
It would be so hard to get the audience like excited and hype. You know,
really?
Like, you know, the whole put your hands up vibe.
In LA?
It's hard, bro.
Bro, it's because everything's too expensive in LA. It's because everything's too expensive.
Have you been a collaboration when...
Well, that's different, but like Spam and Eggs, like that kind of event, like they were like, everybody's like...
Yeah, I think people are learning, but I think there's something about like at least... I don't even want to throw Asians into one pool. I would say Korean Americans... There's this like too cool for school. Like, I don't want to throw my hands up, man. I'm too cool for that. You know what I mean?
Get in all that.
Me too. Me too. I hate it. I'm just like, yo, how come no one's showing love? These guys are killing it. Like, let's show love. But it's kind of like, nah. Man.
I don't think that's an Asian American thing. I think that's an American thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
LA is specifically.
Well, especially LA.
Hate LA because that's how they.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is okay.
Because there's probably spoiled because they have the best shows in the world. But also, it's too expensive to get drunk in LA. So, like, you go to Korea, you're gonna have 20 shots of soju before you go to the concert.
See, that also
dinner.
Adds to,
for sure. So everyone's super loud, super rowdy. If you go to LA, like, I every time I go out in LA, even if I only buy 2 of the drinks and I have people buying me shots all night with the Uber and the drink, by the time I'm done, I'm like, what the fuck? This is like 7 days of drinking in North Carolina. You know?
That's why LA don't have hype crowds because alcohol's too expensive.
It's sober because everyone's
Bro,
sober. Yeah.
That's wild.
Or you gotta have a thing where when you get the person through the door, you give them a free shot. Just take a shot right there.
I'm always trying to do that.
Get them the
There
ball
needs to
rolling.
be more like soju sponsored events because soju's cheaper than whatever the tequila that we're drinking.
Oh yeah.
So okay,
That's
culturally speaking, for yourself in terms of like where you identify with, right? For me, I'm like, yes, I am Korean American. That you know what I mean? Like that is kind of where my safety is. You know, I have predominantly, I mean, I have a pretty diverse friend group, but I have a lot of like Korean American friends, right?
Yeah.
For you, do you have a culturally like comfort zone, or are you kind of just like, yo, I'm just a person of the world. I've traveled and
Yeah,
I've
if you
kind of.
ask like everybody, I mean, I'm just like friends with everybody.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah, I've always kind of been like that.
That's super dope.
Yeah, friends with everyone. I got a lot of love. My parents didn't necessarily like come from the happiest, most love-filled homes, and they spent all of their existence making sure that their kids did. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't very easy for them because they were definitely hurt people. And so like I've just always, even in the most like difficult times when I see people struggling to find love, you know, I don't know. I know that my parents poured it out of thin air and I got a head start because they shared so much with me. So yeah, I feel like I connect with all people.
Hey, are your parents cool with like interracial marriage, the whole thing? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you're
for
also
sure.
mixed, right?
I guess. I mean, I
He's
don't
white
know.
and white.
I just seem pretty white. Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know, bro. I was like, is this guy like Middle Eastern?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
You know,
Some people think I'm Middle Eastern from time to time.
Well,
like
if we wait another 3
tan.
days, I'm sure you'll look more like.
Yeah,
you know, but-
I kind of trimmed my beard off right before I got here, but yeah, they're cool with that for sure. For sure. I'm still single.
Ladies,
we might change that after this
I don't
podcast
know.
comes out.
The
We have a
demographics.
strong Asian following here.
But we have we got to get our girl numbers up.
We do gotta get our girl numbers.
You guys got a dude,
Yeah.
dude audience.
Yeah, it's kind of sausage festy up in this.
This liquid death probably isn't helping it. It's like the most
It's
dude
just water.
podcaster beverage there is.
Why is it, why is it like? What is that? Is that water with like electrolytes or something? Or
It's sparkling water, but they sponsor like every major male podcast.
really?
So like
Liquid
Steve,
Death, y'all want to
Death, hit us up.
sponsor Conversations.
I actually was gonna make a joke about that. Like, I'm doing a podcast. I'm a white fella doing a podcast. I gotta have a can of liquid death
The liquid death.
because I've actually never had
That
it before.
reference though. You're the first white guy,
Am I the first white guy on the podcast?
non-Asian.
That's
No,
what's up.
Sierra first. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a white girl. We had a white girl on here.
Oh, okay.
First white guy.
First white guy.
Look at
Nice.
us.
But you're actually
Hey,
Korean.
give it up.
You're,
We're
you're
coming
actually
on
Korean.
up.
Actually, you know what? We cheated. This guy's Korean, dude. At the end of the day,
I know. He
he's
might be more
He
Korean
might
than
be
we
more
are.
Korean than us, dude. Like he's legit lived in the motherland longer. than
I
either
legit
of
have
us.
never felt so insecure about my Korean
man.
speaking.
Shout out for the Tabasco.
Yeah, this
Mayo,
Tabasco
that's really
mayo
Well, you're
is.
Korean, dude. I gotta do it right, you know.
I've never had it with Tabasco though. I've only ever had it with like gochujang.
Oh,
I never had it with gochujang.
I've
This
never.
is-
Yeah, that
I
might.
like this
You
better.
might not be having
has,
like
like,
the
that
real
tang.
Korean way.
This is dope.
Yeah, that's the maybe this is a mimic or like they're trying to like make it taste like the gochujang, but
Yeah.
gochujang is too expensive
Yeah.
to use like every single time.
I like the little tang of the Tabasco kick. That's good.
The vinegar.
Yeah.
What's y'all's favorite Korean food?
Man, I'm gonna go with sundubu.
Yeah, because I haven't had that in LA yet. Even Korean people in Korea say that the sundubu in K-Town is better.
Really?
Than an actual Korea.
Because they they took BCD from here to there to Korea to Asia.
Oh.
So
I thought BCD was like the best sundubu. I mean, it's just the late night one, but I had one. I might be butchering the. It's either Surawan or Surawan. I think
Surawan, yeah.
it's Surawan.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Surawan on.
We're gonna bleep these out anyways because they don't pay us.
Nah, but we gotta throw flowers to our
All right, fine.
community.
So we leave it in.
Yeah, we leave it in because they're gonna sponsor us.
All right.
No, Surawan has legit sundubu. I was like, well, how much better can you get than BCD? there's just like richer flavors.
Sure, BCD is like it is good. Don't get me wrong, but the ones that they have packets that you can buy at the market is exactly the same thing.
Really?
Exactly the same thing.
All right.
And so, in my thing, Olympic.
It's like Olympic.
Sundubu.
Oh, there's
Olympic Sundubu was the one I used to always go to.
I never even been
across
there.
the street from Hamnamcheon on Olympic.
Okay.
But I know Sudal one is pretty good. That's pretty good.
Suda one, they turned like an old Mexican restaurant into a Korean restaurant. You can tell because all the decor is the same. It just was like,
Like a Taco
why does
Bell.
it feel like I'm in like a Mexican restaurant right now?
Let's
But
go next time.
Yeah,
Let's go for sure.
What else? It's Samgaetang.
I love some.
Samgaetang is my favorite.
Really, samgaetang's your favorite Korean food?
I think
That's such like a I'm sick and I need to eat
or old,
samgaetang.
old people.
That is
food.
an old person's food. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I feel like I try to think about it. Obviously Korean barbecue, kalbi, all that stuff, right? It's good. But like if I'm thinking about like what can I eat at any hour of the day, it's samgaetang. And like
Interesting.
whenever I'm sick, I want it. Whenever I'm like there's times where I'm not sick and I'm just like in the mood for it.
Do you like takanmari?
Takamari? Yeah, I do.
That's
that-
that's
is
like
that-
the drinking version of samgaetang.
Wait,
right?
takamari, is that like fried chicken? Oh no, that's tongdak.
Yeah, takanmari is just basically a whole chicken inside of a soup, and they just throw like daepa.
They put a
And then-
bunch of stuff.
But the fun part about it is how you make your own sauce with like the mustard. And
I only went in
Kanjang.
Korea. When I was there in Korea, that's the only time I had
there's
it.
like a whole alley in Dongdaemun.
Yeah, that's where I went in Dongdaemun, yeah.
Man, I love
You
that.
know, I went to Korea expecting to eat the best Korean food.
Yeah.
Ellie has it.
And this might be a hot take, and I might get some hate for this, but I was a little disappointed.
Lots of people say that.
I was
You gotta let
like-
me send you some Rex.
I
just
know. See,
walked
I gotta
around-
hit you up for the Rex.
I literally
I gotta hit up my guy for the Rex.
Literally for 10 years, I walked around in the sun writing songs, just typing like matjib into my phone on Naver Maps, and just like looking at pictures and being like, "Hey guys, I just found the place that we're gonna eat tonight." I just did it for 10 years, so I know like some really dope spots.
I will say the things that I had in Korea that I felt were better were pork. Like I learned of ogyopsal.
Yeah.
The first time I was like, I know samgyeopsal, but I didn't know what ogyopsal was, and it's like the fattier pork belly
Yeah,
or something.
5 layers.
5 layers, right? And then jjimdak. Jjimdak, which is like the spicy, almost kind of like
Yeah, fuck with Jim Duck too.
the chicken adobo of Korea. But then they have like noodles, it's spicy, it's like this giant platter. And I was like, yo, dude, I've never had this in the
That's
States.
where my family, where it originated from. They originated
Oh yeah,
from
you
it,
told
yeah.
me this.
It's
Jjimdak,
like, dude, this is my
Bring that
people
to
made
LA.
this.
Bring it to
You know,
LA.
they tried it. They actually brought it. They had one here underneath. So you know where, what's that Cuban restaurant? The Colombian restaurant in K-Town,
Colombia?
where Bohemian used to be.
Escala?
Escala. So right next to Escala, there's like a little space that used to be. It's like it always changes. It was an Andon Dakjin place or Dakjin place. That was okay, but I mean, it was the best in LA.
Do you know how to make it? You should just like make it.
Dakjim is the shit.
Probably
Yeah,
not that
dude.
hard, right? There's some chicken.
I feel like Vero could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Vero's sister,
you
because
say.
she's right now. Vero can probably figure it out. Will
Yeah.
it taste like that? Yeah, exactly. It'll taste exactly.
Just bring the recipe from your ancestors and freaking download it to her.
Yeah. Let me call my ancestors. And let
Yeah,
them know.
man.
Let me call my aunts.
But other than that, I think, yeah, samgaetang and then kimchi jjigae.
Ooh, I love kimchi jjigae.
Yeah,
Jjigae,
that's
yeah.
it.
But like my mom's kimchi jjigae. She does like with the spam. It has to have spam. If it's not with spam, it's not kimchi jjigae.
If it doesn't coagulate in the fridge, it's not good, in my opinion.
I love Spam now. I thought Spam was the weirdest shit in the world
Bro.
before I lived in Asia.
It's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your favorite Korean go-to meals?
They're all just like attached to memories, so I can't really pick like what my very favorite one is, but I like Gopchang a lot just because that was the first food that like Korean ajishis were like, "You like this? You actually like this?" And
Gopchang
I
is
was like,
the bigger
"Yeah, I
one?
like this."
The thin one.
That's Makchang. The thin ones.
Gopchang is the thin one.
Makchang is one that's closer to the anus.
Closer to the anus.
I actually have a line. The first like Korean rap that I ever made that went kind of viral on Reddit was like Gopchang Makchang 뭐가 달라? Gopchang Makchang 나 몰라? Like just asking like what's the difference between Gopchang and Makchang, and just Reddit blew up. It was like, oh, it's I know, I've always wondered this. What is it? And then a bunch of people were like, Makchang is the part of the intestine that's closer to the butthole. But it's just like intestines.
Got it.
It's gross. I don't like it.
I'm not a big intestine guy.
There's some good ones.
The Daechang is good. The fattier one.
Yeah.
Right? The one with it's like basically fat lined.
I can't, dude. I'm not a big.
You never had it though?
I've had it, but
you don't like it.
I don't like intestines.
Bad Gopchang is the grossest thing in the world.
Maybe I had bad Gopchang.
But good Gopchang is just a whole different layer.
Yeah, let me take you to the spot over here in Kitang.
Is it the Agashi? Gopchang? Better than that?
Better than
I went to Agashi and I was like,
actually, they're pretty good.
This is cool. Like, I tried it, and I'm like, I don't think I'll ever crave it.
You don't like the texture?
Texture and I think for me, it's if I know what I'm eating and my mind tells me this is disgusting.
Yeah, you just won't even give it a chance. Yeah, I'm the same.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not a big fan.
That's partially why, like, when I ate Gopchang, and I had Daechang first, and then and then Ram was like, it's basically the same thing. And I was like, oh, cool. In my mind, I was like willing to do it. And as I was eating it, I think I ate a good handful of it before I realized, oh, I don't really like this.
What's something that you've eaten that you didn't think you would like that you actually liked?
Chicken sashimi.
Yeah, I can say that.
I just ate that in Tokyo for
That's
the
a
second
thing?
time. Yeah.
You can eat raw chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be specially prepared in terms of like, the chicken is a special kind of chicken, right?
Comes from like a special farm.
Special farm, and then like, so there's like basically no bacteria to like get you sick or something.
Salmonella can't develop inside of these farms.
Yeah. They have certain in restaurants here in LA that do that.
Really?
Well, I don't want to say sashimi, but it's like just seared chicken.
Like the most recent video on my Instagram is me eating it, but that one wasn't that good.
I saw that. I didn't know. I thought that was sushi.
Yeah, I got to do a better job of like hitting you with this motherfucker's
This is
eating
raw chicken.
You
Wow. Okay.
You gotta use that girl the AI girl that uses
this
that
motherfucker's about to eat raw chicken.
chicken.
Will he die? Yeah. But the first time I had it though, like a Japanese foodie friend took me to eat it, and just on like the 23rd floor of this place that was separated by curtains that just had like every kind of cool Japanese food in the world. It was the most cool.
Wow.
The one thing about Japan that's like, it's really difficult to get around in Japan unless you have Japanese friends.
Totally.
In Korea, you can just like have someone tell you to go to a neighborhood and you can walk around and find your way. So,
I think it's different.
No, I think Korea, I agree with you, because when I went in 2014, I felt like it was much more tourist friendly because they have street signs in Korean and then they have it spelled in English underneath.
Yeah.
But in Japan, you'll just be walking by an unmarked like, skyscraper.
If you don't speak Japanese, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, or unless you have like a translator thing that can like help you out. But I went from Korea and I loved the experience of like, wow, like, you know, I mean, also probably I'm biased because I can speak Korean. But then I went from there to Japan. I was like, man, I don't know where I'm going. I can't even ask for help because no one speaks English. And I'm not blaming it on Japan.
Yeah.
I'm the foreigner. Like,
yeah.
I should be able to figure it out. But as a tourist, I felt like Korea was much more tourist friendly, and Japan was a little bit
I think
more
the relationship between America and Korea during the Korean War just like really westernized a lot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it just like really tightened the bond between Americans. And like when I get into a cab in Korea and tell the Kisan-nim that my grandfather was in the Korean War, they just like go nuts.
Yeah.
They almost cry.
Wow.
It means a lot to them.
When I was in Korea in 2005, there was like no English. There was barely any English on the stores. Like they didn't have POS systems. Everything was cash still.
Yeah.
When I went again in 2015, it was all cashless or whatever. There was like
everything I
English.
read about Korea before moving there in 2011 was wrong. They were like, you're probably not going to have service anywhere. Your bank cards are not going to work. All this stuff. I was like, damn, I'm really going on an adventure.
Over there. But in my opinion, though, when I'm in Japan, there's a sense of like, for me, even being Korean, like when I'm in Korea, like I ask somebody like, oh, how do I get here? They're like, they kind of like, they'll just respond or like they'll just point. In Japan, I've always asked people, and they'll like literally stop what they're doing and walk you to where you're going. And they might be pissed off and talk shit on the way back, But they did it, you know, like Koreans are like, oh, 여기 가고, 이쪽으로 가고, 저쪽으로 가고, you know, they'll say that kind of stuff, but like, they don't really help you. So that's why I felt like, even being me going to Japan, I've been there twice in my life, and both times I just wandered on my own, and I was able to find around. I heard gaijin a lot, you know, like, people were like, gaijin, because I was like, doing all this stuff offending me. I was like, drinking beer on the street with you're not even supposed to do that, but I was like, me and my friend were like getting drunk on the street, and like, doing our touristy things, but like people were way nicer in my opinion than they were in Korea. So it's like to me, I feel like Japan is a little bit more Western.
I do not share this opinion. I don't want to get canceled.
Well, don't get me wrong. I love Korea, okay, but I would just in my personal experiences. But of course, when you go to Korea,
you're about to get disowned by the Korean community.
Can we just cut that out?
You might want to cut that out.
We're keeping that. That
Korean
is
homies.
the name of this episode. Ryan hates Korea.
My Korean friends were like kind of pissed when I like
Bro,
left to go to Japan
you know
last
what?
weekend.
F that. How was your day?
How was your day?
We can't
What
cut
did you
that
think
out
of the
anymore.
weather today?
So like we're not gonna cut that out because it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'm not saying that
That's
like
what the
they're
show's
better
about,
or
bro.
anything.
You
I'm
can
just
have an
saying-
opinion.
Yeah.
You can have an experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I had an experience.
Can't take away from your experience.
So that's my personal experience. But of course, if I choose to.
So
live
we got to
in-
redeem this experience. We got to go back to Korea. So all my friends who have recently gone to Korea, and they ask me, "When's the last time you were in Korea?" And I was like, 2014. So it's been a minute. It's been like 9
that's a
years,
long
right?
time.
Almost a freaking full decade.
Mine's 2020.
Bro, you went in 2020?
Yeah, for my honeymoon.
So you should have like a very different like experience, because everyone that is telling me now, they're like, when's the last time you got? I'm like 2014. They're like, bro, it's so different.
Oh no, it's hella different from that time, from 15 till 2020. The 5 years, like even more like.
So
Way different.
It definitely is more westernized, more like Americanized than Japan. And
Not that
stuff like
that's a good thing. That's just good for us
Yeah,
because
good
we're
for us,
Western folk.
But like I said, yeah, I mean, I had and this is me and Vero. Like she was like, I regret not booking Japan longer. She only booked Japan for like 2 days because she was like, I don't even want beer. She did it for me, but then she was here and she was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And
That's an interesting topic in terms of, okay, so America has always been the melting pot, right? Like people was like, yo, this is where you can come and achieve your dreams. Doesn't matter, race, color, creed, you just religion, color, creed. Like you can just come here and figure it out. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the marketing of America. And do you guys think that is something that the world should adopt? Meaning, like you saying you had more culture shock being back here than being in Korea. So it seems like Korea is adopting this sort of melting pot. I think there's a lot of the culture and tradition that Korea will always preserve, but I see more of it opening up. You know what I mean? Because maybe it is because of Western acceptance, because K-pop, K-drama, K-beauty products, Korean food, like they
Korea's
see
the cool kid at school, right?
Right, like LA in America is fully not only adopting, they're just like, we want more of this. Yeah. So I wonder, because of that, whether Korea as a country is kind of more like accepting of non-Korean people coming into the country and consuming and I know this is a take.
Teaching English. A lot of people are going in there, non-Koreans going to teach English.
Yes, for sure. So my question is, like, what are y'all's opinion or take on, should the world take on the melting pot? I don't want to say it's a mentality, but the melting pot
theory.
We'll call it a theory. Yeah. We'll call it a theory. Like that's better for the world, for us to be more accepting of the differences of other cultures, but like, hey, come here, learn about this, but also inject what you bring to this. Because I feel like that's where racism is bred, is when it's like, nah, we don't want that here. You know what I mean? Like, here is where we preserve this. This is not welcome. Like, that's literally where racism becomes this dangerous, ugly thing, right? Because it's like, we don't accept that, we only allow this. And I feel like, bro, like, I'll just call it out, bro. Like, Koreans are as, traditionally as racist as anybody else. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just
Yeah,
like,
I'd say racism is a human problem.
it's a human problem. But I think that comes from when we get so like used to this like homogenized, like this is our people. Y'all are the others. Y'all are the others. Y'all are the others. But when you create a space where we want everyone to come and experience and share and learn, as much as like people say America's racism, America's not the most racist country in the world. Let's just call it out. It's not the most. It may be the most like out there in terms of what's out in social media, what's out in the news, and things like that.
Because racism is real,
It is
and
real.
because it's so blaringly apparent in America, I do think that eventually America is going to be ahead of the pack in fixing it.
I agree.
Wait a minute.
I also agree with that.
Isn't God the one that made like the different races? And
Yes,
like,
God made everything.
So, but I'm saying like he specifically did something where they were trying to Babel, right? They were trying to build a tower or a throne that was higher than God's, and they were communicating, and he literally
Confuse the language.
confused the language
Yeah.
to like, so we can't do that, right? So he kind of made us different races, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you gotta fix it, man. You gotta
No,
fix it,
God made all the races. Like
Yeah.
he made like cultural difference. Like that is from God.
We
But
should just be all gray, like beings, you know, and then it would have been fine. Like,
Well, if we do erase all of these like arbitrary
like one
land
race.
borders, maybe we all will just
Or
turn
the
into one
human
thing.
race.
But
We
that
are one
also,
race.
but that brings up the question: like, do we want that? Because some of the most beautiful things in life are cultural differences. You know,
100%.
I think the goal has just got to be learning how to love. You know, I don't know why that's so hard. I think most of it is because everyone's minds are moving so fast. But if you truly just like don't allow your past experiences or your fear of what may happen in the future to alter the way you behave or the way you treat somebody in the given moment, that's ultimately like the cure to all of this. I know it's like seems too good to be true, but it really is. And I mean, because of the way society is set up, capitalism is not going to allow that. The world is profiting off of our disagreements.
and that's what it is. That's the world. It's the people in power, the people who are running things, the money, with the interests. That's keeping us divided. Will keep them richer. And it's like, that's the sad thing about it, is that we're like, yeah, and then people know it, but still the anger is just, they're able to fuel it, and that's what's sad. So that's why when you say, oh, it's all about love, it's like, do you think that humans are innately evil? Or
No, I think that they're inherently beautiful, really beautiful. I just feel like people are being driven and distracted by
You know,
by a lot
I
of other
agree with
things.
that. I think human nature, though it's inherently flawed. Flawed does not mean it's evil and bad, right? It's flawed, right? There's a broken nature to human nature, but I think on the other side of that coin, because of our experiences, we can't help what we've experienced, right?
Yeah.
It's like how you grew up. Like those are the cards that were dealt to you, and based off of those cards, you're gonna have an experience. I think through these very diverse experiences, when you are open to learning, I could like my experience is my experience, and that like no one else can say anything about it. But if I'm now gonna be like, okay, I experienced, let's just say racism, right? And I have experienced racism. And if I've experienced that, and if I decide because of that, this is how I'm going to make my reality, that's a decision that I made. But if I'm like, okay, I experienced this, which cannot be taken away from me, and it is real, but I want to know, like, how is there a way other than this, or is there a way outside of this? Is there another way to look at this? Because if I experience this, someone else probably experienced something similar and different from me. So it's that like willingness to be curious, to have these conversations. And bro, like during like COVID, I mean, not only were we experiencing a pandemic, BLM was like very much a big topic of conversation. And me as an Asian American, I'm like, bro, I don't know anything about this. I don't know what it's like to be a black person.
Well, no, there was also lots of like anti-Asian.
Totally. There was like a trickle down thing. But I think where I personally, and this is just me having, putting my own experience out there, I was like, yo, I don't know a lot of stuff. So I just got to be down to be stupid. I got to be down to be like, I don't know.
Just listen.
Teach me.
Yeah.
Teach me about that. And I think that's that it would be great if people were to have that humble approach of like, I don't know your experience, but I would love to learn about it, versus, I don't know your experience, so I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
That's
like,
different.
Or like I don't necessarily know your experience, but you should just like be okay. It's probably the same. Like a buddy of mine the other day called and he was upset about a mutual friend of ours who he thought had done something bad to him. And I had like high hopes. I always like look for the best in people, and I was hoping that he was mistaken about the wrong that had been done to him. But I've really learned, like, as I get older, that most of the time when somebody comes to you with a problem or comes to you with a negative feeling, or when a friend comes to you when they're sad, even if they might be mistaken, at the beginning the best thing to do is just listen.
Right.
And I feel like that's like the same with anything. Like if somebody comes to you and is like, I experienced something racist, let's just listen, because they're hurting regardless of, maybe it was just in their imagination, but even if it was just in their imagination, it's because a series of events in their lives have led to them being afraid or feeling like, I don't want to be in this kind of environment. And that in and of itself deserves you listening and being empathetic to.
100%.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I'm just trying to be.
I come home thinking sometimes I'm like, Vero had a tough day, probably.
Yeah.
So already just like, whatever she does, whatever she says, don't react to it.
Yeah.
And then try to be understanding. So sometimes when I come in with that mindset, I'm well better prepared to more so catch the I guess like the blow rather than block it and then try to
not taking
get back.
it personally.
Yeah. So it's like, it's definitely mindset and changing that, because like when I do come into that, and there's sometimes I don't, and then she just doesn't, I'm like, and then, you know. Like,
and does that ever end well?
No, it does not, dude.
Never.
It does not. But
Fighting like anger or like impatience with anger and impatience is just like the worst. It makes everybody get worse. I don't know. I kind of dealt with like a temper my whole life. Just like that Italian American like temper that my dad watching The Sopranos thinks is so funny. Can you believe it? Tony's
the Gabagool.
That's the fucking man, isn't he? And I'm like, that
there.
guy needs therapy, and that's kind of the point of the show.
Right.
But I just, as I've gotten older, there's just certain emotions that they're always going to be with us, like anger and fear and resentment and jealousy and all of these emotions. They're here for a reason. But as I've gotten older, I've decided, when I have those negative emotions that don't feel good, I'm going to take the time to kind of like view my feelings, view my thoughts from above, disassociate from them and say like, why am I feeling this way? And like 99% of the time, it's just like an antiquated approach to just like something that happened to you like early on in the day because you're protecting yourself, right? Yeah. But I realized like I don't really need those in my emotional vocabulary anymore. Like I don't need fear. There's no pack of wolves outside coming to like eat my children. Yeah. I don't need resentment. It doesn't actually like make the person that I have this feeling towards change. All it does is poison me, make me sick, make me afraid of having honest relationships in the future. I don't need anger. Every time I try to fight anger with anger, everyone just gets madder. Yep. So I've just like begun to like shed all of these like negative emotions from my emotional vocabulary. And man, I thought that I didn't think it would change me as much as it has. But just like in the past year, coming home and kind of like being heartbroken about the way I had to leave Korea and all the things that had happened there, I was hurt, man. I was pissed. I was sad. I was feeling sorry for myself. I had some like resentment towards certain people. And man, as soon as I decided that I wasn't going to react to that difficult situation with those, and rather try to react with love, courage, and empathy, I feel like I'm a different species. Yeah. And I really can like walk up to somebody who's incredibly angry or incredibly sad or whatever, and really like see people better than I could before. Before there was too much noise in my head. There was like too many other thoughts going on that were like trying to protect me. I thought it was because I was I'd been done wrong by people, so I can't let them do it again and blah, blah. But really, who cares? Yeah. You know, like if somebody hurts me, it's because they're hurt. It's not because like they have it out for me. Nobody's thinking about us all day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting into some
No, man, I think we dug ourselves into this hole of culture and race. But, you know, like I think, you know, me, when I learned about what you do and you know, what you're passionate about, and like I'm learning obviously a lot more in this conversation, but like, you know, the thing that sticks out to me is the beauty of diversity, the beauty of not looking the part yet being able to surprise people with like, wow, I didn't know you were like that. And I know that's like a very kind of like you're judging a book by its cover, but that's what we're accustomed to do. We just look at somebody and we're like, I assume you're a this, I assume you're a that, and you probably believe this and you probably believe that. But
why do you think we do that?
I just think that's just like the world that we grew up in.
But why do you think so many people do that? What do you think that what purpose do people believe that
I think
serves them?
it's a combination of experience and what the narrative of what media feeds us, right? You know, when we, like, again, I'm going to go back to representation, man. Like, why it's so important is because, let's just go back to, again, this is Conversations, so let's talk about the Asian experience. When we grew up and we watched movies, we watched TV, and for one, there was rarely ever any Asian people.
Just all white people, right?
Yeah, and if there were Asian people, they were painted a certain type, right? They were like the subservient, they were like the emasculated.
It's crazy to look back on those old movies, right? They're just
the nerd. They're the one that was not cool.
Yeah.
And we only had a few. We had like Bruce Lee, we had Jackie Chan, you know, like, but even then it's just like, oh, you're Asian, you must be a kung fu artist.
Yeah. Nerd,
you know
or
what I mean?
kung fu.
Yeah, nerd or kung fu. And even at that, like, it's like, man, like why are we put into this box? But when you only are painted a certain light, and that's what is shown in media, movies, television, people, the rest of the world think that's what Asian people are. You know what I mean? But like, we all know that no people group, forget Asian, no people group are a one thing. Like, we are diverse, we are as talented, we are as smart, we are as capable as anyone else. Like, that's the beauty of human nature. But that's why, like, these types of conversations are important, because we now know, like, man, like, you and I are more alike than we are different. You know what I mean? And then to even cross over and sort of dabble in each other's quote unquote cultures, right? Like, you over here rapping in Korean, and I'm just like, what? Yeah. I think it's dope. You know what I mean? But other folks may be like more, and maybe there's like a shock factor to it. It's like, wow, this is like interesting. Like, I need to learn.
So far, the only people that have called it cultural appropriation have been white people.
Yeah,
that's the funny thing, right?
They get offended the most for other people.
I don't even want to get into woke culture.
I'm with a lot of that. I'm with a lot of that, because I do think that like major changes needed to be made, and the only way that major changes are ever made is when people are really adamant that the changes need to occur. So, like, I am totally okay with woke culture, and I think that, like, I'm glad that people are that Asian people are coming out and saying, like, hey, we are not being accurately represented in pop culture, and y'all are fucking doing it right now.
But, you know,
right?
it's a good time. I feel like that
we don't ask for it now. Well, we did ask for, like, hey, we need to be represented. I feel like they wouldn't give us a shot, so we're like, all right, we'll just make our own success. Yeah. You know, and that's why, like, BTS is such a anomaly, because it's like they're not the quintessential, like, image of like what American men are, right? But they're like desired by so hunks. Many. Yeah, they're hunks, right? So it's like, you know, and it's like they have loyal followers and fans like none other, and it's just like, I think it's just it's the talent. You can't deny the talent, right? So it's like,
yeah. I think it's the talent, and it's the, you know, the level of excellence that, you know, I don't want to just keep putting Asians on the pedestal, but like, me growing up as like a kid who was told like, you need to get straight A's. I mean, I don't know about. I was like, I'm not built for straight A's. You know what I mean? But like the other. But the thing for me was like, when I figured out like, yo, I have these passions for like dance. I'm like, man, I gotta freaking just be the best that I can as a dancer, you know. So like, there's something there.
You did.
There's
I mean, y'all killed it, huh?
But he went full on, like the Jabberwockies, the Kinjas, like still a Kinja. Like,
but you know, but even with that though, like, I don't think that came from I need to be the best. for me, I just knew that like I can only be good at the things that I care about. You know what I'm saying? And so like, you know, even for you, bro, like, you know, with music, you said you couldn't deny the fact that like music was just a part of you.
It's just
And,
always.
you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
you were just like, yo, I gotta put all my passion, all my efforts, all my work into this thing that I'm passionate about. And at the end of the day, man, like that's what we're trying to do. And I love that we are shifting the narrative, you know, with content like this, man. Like we're talking about some stuff that's pretty touchy. And, you know, we have our own opinions, we have our own takes, but like we got to put it out there. We can't be afraid to have an opinion that is contrary to the popular opinion, you know, and we've taken some bullets, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Have y'all?
yes, some people don't quite agree with some of the takes, and they say it in the comments, but like we welcome it because this is what this whole show is for, man. Like these are conversations, man, things that like Asian people talk about behind closed doors, but you know,
It's
like
also conversations because not everybody comments. Everyone's just silent, watching silent.
Yeah.
and,
like
and we
Asians.
invite it, man. We
Like
invite
Asians.
it, and I love being able to invite people who aren't necessarily people who look like us, who grew up like us, but
What is
maybe
this?
understand a bit about the culture. Because I'm over here learning from you, of like, man, I didn't know that you were like that accepted. I'm actually surprised, and I love the fact that you were like, yo, man, like the Korean culture in Korea really embraced me. If anything, it's weirder for you over here, and I'm like, wow, that's
yeah,
interesting.
I
you
mean,
know?
maybe I'm blissfully ignorant, but for me, I feel like, I don't know, I'm a good judge of character, and a lot of the compliments and just people support that I've gotten from people over there, it just seems incredibly genuine.
Yeah.
And just the things that like my record label did for me, and as far as we got on that TV show, trying to rap in Korean basically for the first time, just all of that, you know, the audiences who were judging it and everything, they were all Korean, you know.
Yeah.
They could have voted for the Korean artist, but we won almost every episode on that
That's
TV show.
crazy. That's dope. Hey, but Saul, man, thank you so much for coming through and sharing with us more than like the music stuff, bro. I mean, bro, you're sick with it, and like, dude, we can't wait to like just see the journey unfold. But man, like as I learn more about the mentality behind why you went into it the way that you did, and your the broad scope that you have in terms of like how you view the world, how you view cultural differences and the beauty of that, and how you embrace all of it in a way where I feel like it's very much just authentic. It's genuine.
Thank you, man.
And man, I can't wait to see life happen for you, bro. Because
Thank you so much.
I think you're on a dope path. Thank you for coming through and eating some squid and
Gotta eat
Yeah,
that
and how
turkey.
can if our listeners and our followers like want to find you?
Yeah.
Like you know,
Yes, Saul Goode. It's SaulGoode. My Instagram is Saul Goode PTC. The PTC stands for Part-Time Cooks. So yeah, on Spotify you can look up Part-Time Cooks, and that's like all of my music that I made in Korea. And then my solo music is under Saul Goode. And I've got an album out called Blue, an album by Ryan. And by the time this comes out, I'll have an EP out with ROMderful called Pay to Play. And you can check that out
Let's go.
on
Let's
all
go.
the
The
digital
platforms.
streaming platforms.
Any shows coming up out here, man? Because I definitely want to come
I
through it.
definitely,
Yeah.
I think I want to try to do, I'm going to go to the Lakers-Warriors game on March 16th.
Okay.
And my birthday is March 13th. So I'm thinking I want to try to maybe do my first LA show the weekend of the 15th.
Dope.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm been meeting
Let
some
us
people
know.
here. Maybe I could get some people to come out and watch me in LA.
Promote it, help you out.
But
you know?
yeah, I think the first show I'm gonna do in America, really, like, since returning home from Asia, is gonna be in Durham, North Carolina, the weekend of the 22nd.
Dope.
So,
What if you went there and you were like rapping Korean? Everyone was like rapping with you in Korean. You're like,
That'd be so
what
sick.
the heck?
dude, I just did a show in Tokyo 2 weeks ago, like 2 Saturdays ago, and my Japanese label was losing their mind because there was a white Swedish guy rapping all of my lyrics in Korean.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It was so wild. Like I didn't get to like reap any of the benefits from that Sign Here TV show because COVID started and we didn't really get to perform. But yeah, like people in Japan were rapping Korean lyrics
That's dope.
at my shows in Tokyo
That's tight, bro.
from that TV show, which is crazy, which is just wild.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, that is wild.
trippy, and I don't even know if they spoke Korean, but they like listen to the songs enough that they like.
It's similar.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for having
For
me on.
sure,
Yeah, I
for
really
sure.
enjoyed
Thank
it.
you for
Thank
coming
you.
through, man.
I'm down to do this again anytime.
Let's
Anytime
go.
I'm here, if
Yeah.
y'all want to do
You're
it.
we have
welcome back
connect- now we're
anytime,
connected,
man.
So
No
let
doubt.
me know whenever you're in the area. So you know what I mean, or you're gonna be in the area.
No doubt. 한국 위하여.
Yeah.
한국 화이팅.
반가워요.
Yeah, me too, yo. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
That's
Nice to meet
it.
you, my brother.
All right.
Hey, cheers to y'all. Conversations, Saul Goode. Thank you for coming through.
Thank
We'll
you,
catch
man.
you guys on the next one. We out of here.
Peace.
Peace out.